The happy thing about this, I guess, is that achieving that goal is like it builds on tools that you're going to need to even start on the journey in the first place. So I think I was working on the investigation system, doing like the word or the phrase vibe coding has been claimed differently now, but at the time it was making what I could cynically call vibe-based changes to the system, where I went intuitively, I think if I go modify this part, I think it's going to get better. But at the time, it was very much like, I guess I'll find out in the next 10 incidents on our account if this has done anything good or if it's just entirely off the rails. And it was around about, I think, New Year. I think it was New Year's Day. I was just like, this isn't going to work. Like, we need to pause for a second. And at this point, I'd spent enough time that I had the pieces in my head of what we actually needed in terms of internal tooling to try and build this thing properly. And I stopped and spent maybe about a month putting together this idea of like data sets of incidents and labeling incidents with certain like authoritative verified answers. Then we built a backtest facility where we could go and run these investigations against a bunch of incidents, and then we could grade the investigations and they'd come up with a scorecard that could tell us which part of the investigation was correct, how correct was it, did it get anything wrong, where did it go wrong. All of this tooling is now actually how we develop this investigation system. So if you've ever worked with people in like ML disciplines, I've got a friend who is off in SF now, but he spent a long time as like a principal AI researcher in DeepMind. And I was talking with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man! Like what you do is you get these systems, and they do a load of crazy stuff. But the first thing that you do is establish an evaluation metric." Right. And then you go, what is the baseline? Like figure out a way to come up with an answer on how well is the system performing now. So that's really build yourself a data set and figure out how to run it. And then you hill climb and you get your engineers on the team to sit there and go, well, I want to improve that metric and I'm going to focus on precision here. And I'm going to do whatever I can in order to increase precision. And actually at this point, like maybe you increase cost or maybe you decrease recall. It doesn't really matter. Like figure out what you can do to the system to try and move this stuff around. And then make sure that your tooling can help tell you really quickly if you've gone in the right or wrong direction. And this is the only way that I've found working with these agentic systems. Yep. They're just too messy and chaotic for you to be making changes on the basis that you think this might work. You need to be able to measure it. And ever since doing that, we've found that progress on this has become suddenly tractable. And I think it went from kind of like just me being able to work on this thing to me being able to onboard other people in the team onto it, which honestly was like one of the biggest, most stressful parts of working on this thing. Because like if you have a system where errors compound and you're trying to like hold the whole thing in your head, you just can't have another person over here kind of like YOLOing changes in one place, because you could literally end up looking at the output and thinking that it was your changes that did it and it wasn't. So yeah, I think establishing this concept of like scorecards, and we have a nice productized experience now, and we actually have a place in our internal tooling called the leaderboard, where for different parts of the investigation system we've saved like the best scorecard and whoever achieved it. And now the job of an engineer is like, oh, you got to go beat that leaderboard. It's like go play Pac-Man and try and beat the high score. But in this case, it's like I've gone and modified how we vectorize this stuff, and as a result, or I've been cleverer with how I've searched for code changes, and it's got better.